All righty. I think. Look at that. I don't think I'm muted. Sometimes I do that to myself. I will start a show and I will be muted and I'll be talking, talky, like I do. And then someone will be gracious enough to say, "We can't hear you." So I'm just going to hang out for a minute and check and wait and see. I know I normally start with a countdown. I decided not to do a countdown today because there's just too much to get in. And I know that it's been a very long time since I've done an episode of Speaking of Happy. Frankly speaking, it's been a while since we've done an episode of that too. But frankly speaking, there has been a lot going on. I have got a full-time job, which is my priority, and things have ramped up there. I'm still trying to finalize this special project that I'm working on with the ACLU. I have 3 more videos to complete with them or for them. And then on top of all of that, doing what I can to contact senators, be in touch with senators, be in touch with senators, emailing my senators, calling my senators. And I say senators because my senator is Megan Hunt. I don't really have to bug her. I already know where she stands on LB 574 or LB 575, the drag ban, like the proposed drag ban, LB 626, all of that. And so what I do mostly with Senator Hunt is send her messages of support and love and thanking her. And I try to do that every day. I try to tune into the Nebraska Legislature every day, although it can be really frustrating to watch. It's like a slow train crash. Because it's just been messy. Messy McMesserson is what I like to say. Very messy. But anyway, so I am here and I have been talking now for a couple of minutes, about 2.5, 3 minutes. I know that there are people who are going to join in. And so I am going to just kind of keep talking while I'm waiting for folks to hop on with us and watch the stream. One of the things that I did want to also talk about tonight was an Omaha World Herald article that went out. The article was published 6 hours ago, so it was published today. And basically, it's the Union Pacific and 300 plus other corporations sign a letter opposing anti-LGBTQ legislation. So, like, super cool thing that was happening. I know that there were more than 100 local businesses and nonprofits that actually signed on to a letter here in Nebraska specifically, that are people that are opposing the legislation, the proposed legislation, mostly LB 574 and LB 575, but it's still there's lots of activity and lots of businesses who are saying, look, this is not good for Nebraska. We are not okay with this, and it just basically needs to stop. So, I mean, there's so much going on. And like I said, I have barely had enough time to do the things that I need to do. Plus, I got COVID again in early April. That took me a while to get over. I feel like I'm pretty much fully recovered from that last round of COVID. And so I feel really good about that. So we're still waiting for folks to jump on and view. Don't have a lot of folks here yet, but I did say I was starting right at 7. So getting back to what was in the Omaha World Herald. So They were sharing that more than 100 Nebraska businesses and nonprofit groups had signed a letter opposing restrictions on gender affirming care. But there was also, on the Human Rights Campaign, sent a letter to state senators and Governor Jim Pillen listing businesses opposed to anti-LGBTQ state legislation. Now, the letter was initially drafted in 2020. And then, gosh darn it, it looks like my stream is being funky. But it was initially drafted in 2020, and it has amassed 319 signatures, including major corporations such as Apple, General Motors, IBM, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, and United Airlines. Also on that letter is Nebraska's own Union Pacific, which is headquartered right here in Omaha. So it was really heartening to see that. Other significant operations in the state that aren't headquartered in Omaha but have significant business presences: Amazon, Cargill, Kellogg, Google, and U.S. Bank. So it's really wonderful to see this. I know that there was some debate earlier today on the legislative floor because some of the, we'll say, supermajority Republican Senate was pushing back on a couple of the senators who had shared that these letters had gone out to governors and senators. So they were sharing about it, they were talking about it, and then there was some pushback, obviously, because that's the way that I'm trying to not be too I'm indigenous, and I'm not okay with the colonial way. Colonizers are doing their best to be super cringy right now, and it's just ridiculous what they're doing when it comes to our rights, when it comes to LGBTQIA2S plus rights, more specifically trans rights, and the rights of parents of trans kiddos. Like, I went to the Senate yesterday to have conversations with the senators, pulled a couple of them from off the floor to talk to them and just share with them that, a lot of the information that I've heard them share from the Senate floor is not grounded in truth. And, I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'll bring my guests on here shortly. But I ended up, so I'm in a Facebook group that is a LGBTQIA2S plus Facebook group of folks here living in Nebraska who are members of the community. And they made a post about what had happened. I believe it was Monday evening into Tuesday morning, or Monday evening or something. We heard late Monday that there was an amendment to LB 574. And that amendment basically took what was killed when LB 626 died, the abortion ban, and then retooled it and added it as an amendment to LB 574. And I mean, not cool. So this group, which is a supportive group on Facebook, it's made up of members from all across the community, from all across Nebraska. And I was going to see if I could see how many folks are in the group. So there's about 3,400 people in the group. And so one of the admins of the group had posted about this amendment, and that there had been a change, and that LB 574 was going to be coming up for its final round of debate. So it's been through 2 rounds already. And usually what happens if it doesn't get past the first 2 times, or actually it passes, which means it goes to the second round of debate. And then at the second round, if it passes again, it goes to a 3rd round of debate. And we're hoping that we can kill it. but I don't think that's going to happen. Like I'm from what the senators that I spoke with yesterday shared with me, I'm not real confident that that bill is going to die. I'm just not confident about it. I hate to say that because I don't like to be someone who isn't optimistic. I like to be optimistic. I like to feel like there's like have some sort of faith in humanity. But honestly, there's so many people with so much misinformation, including people in that group on Facebook. Now, granted, and you would think, and many people who are, your typical LGBTQ plus people will say, like, how can you not? Like, how can you be for a bill like LB 574? It's attacking our community. Like, we're all a part of the same community. And it feels like a no-brainer, right? It feels like, look, if they're coming after one of us, they're going to be eventually coming after all of us. And that's the bottom line. Well, so they posted about this. One of the admins posted about it. And this trans woman started going off on a tangent about how she doesn't agree that, and was like attacking admins and saying like, how dare you share this and say this? Like, how dare you be for genital mutilation of children? And like all of the right wing talking points. So I took her on. Like I, started asking her questions. I'm like, hey, so you're trans, you live in Nebraska, right? And she's like, yeah. And I said, so how old were you when you transitioned? Just trying to get some additional information. And she shares that she was 16 years old when she came out. Told her family members, told her parents, 16 years old. They took her to the doctor. She had a consultation with her doctor. The doctor recommended that she wait to go on hormones. And so she waited. And I'm going, okay, so you actually had access to gender affirming care. Whether you want to believe that it was or not is a moot point, because it was. You had access to gender affirming care. They made a recommendation to you at that time to wait. That is literally what they do for everybody. That is literally what doctors and healthcare practitioners, psychologists, therapists, all of them, psychiatrists, like they're all making the same kinds of recommendations to parents of trans kiddos living in Nebraska. They have been doing it for decades. All 5 of the major medical associations all support gender affirming care. We have some of the leaders in gender affirming care right here in Omaha, Nebraska. And this trans woman kept doubling and tripling down. She then posted a video that is basically, again, just 2 trans folks spewing their trash about how, hormone blockers are bad and it's harmful. It can render young people sterile for the rest of their lives. And I'm laughing because I'm like, one of these trans people is actually a trans man who transitioned many years ago. And then he decided he was going to be the only man in triple X videos and porns, basically, to sleep with other men, not having had lower surgery. And so he kind of rose up in the porn world. Like I've read his story. I watched a documentary on him, and he kind of rose to fame on that end of things. And then he decided he wanted to kind of transition out of that world and started to sell different products. And okay, good for you, whatever. But like, he started talking about how hormones, Now, not blockers, mind you, but how hormones had done some interesting things to him and his body. He's fully transitioned. He is, if you met him walking down the street, you would say he was a man. You wouldn't second guess it at all. You wouldn't have any question about it at all. He's got facial hair, the whole nine. So he's had access to gender affirming care. And I promise there's a point to this. I will get to it. But he's now kind of gone off the rails and has like gone on this mission to now share the stories, these tragic stories of detransitioners. And he's claiming that there's hundreds of them, more than we ever hear about. And he started interviewing them on his Instagram and all these things and claiming to be like, he's fully in support of children and keeping them healthy and blah, blah, whatever. And I basically said to the admins that this was trash and they should take it off the page. So they deleted that video. They did not suppress her voice. They did not delete any of her comments. They didn't remove her from the group. None of it. They were like, you can stay. We don't have a problem with you. But we have a problem with what you're like, the propaganda that you're sharing doesn't work for this space. Well, she got mad. And so she took herself out of the group. She went to her personal page and pinned on the top of her personal page. And I would show it to you, but I have been blocky McBlockersunned. And so I can't see her page anymore, which is totally fine. The trash took itself out. But she's like, everybody help me in reporting this group on, and they're on Facebook and they're sharing all of this propaganda and lies about transition and blockers and hormones. And I went on her page before she blocked me and I said, hey, the only person lying here is you. You pulled yourself out of the group. Nobody told you couldn't be there. You just couldn't handle the truth. You couldn't handle people calling you on your crap and saying, hey, I call BS. Well, of course, she responded to my comment and said, get the F off my page. Who the F do you think you are? Blah, 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 blah. And I'll tell you, I am going to read this. And I mean, we went back and forth and finally she just blocked me. And like I said, the trash took itself out. So fine. I'm fine with that. Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. But here's what I then find after she had blocked me. She had sent me a personal message on Facebook. And her personal message says this: you are a total piece of shit. Just because you're ugly and the community doesn't accept you doesn't mean that you need to keep spreading the misinformation, trying to get people to allow mutilation of innocent children. Get an effing life. And she didn't say effing. I'm just not going to say that word, although I love that word. You piece of shit loser. So then I basically went into that Facebook page, that group, and I said, hey, this is what she's trying to do. Here's what she did to me. I knew that she had actually also sent some pretty hateful messages to one of the admins. And I just said, you know, folks, if you feel like going, don't take her on. Don't challenge her. Leave that to the other trans folks to collect the trans trash. If we're able to. I mean, I tried. I went back and forth with her in that group on Facebook and on her page, and she just wasn't having it. I mean, she's like the Caitlyn Jenner of Nebraska. And Lord knows we don't need any more Caitlyns. So it's just sad to me. It's sad to me because we have young people who have loving and supportive parents who want to do what's right by their kids and want them to be able to have access to gender affirming care and the care that they need. And here's the other thing. It's not a one size fits all either. It's a case by case basis. Some kids might need to go on blockers. Some might not. Some will go on blockers until they're old enough to make a choice about going on hormones, and some won't. You know, when we have loving parents, loving, supportive parents, why do we want to strip them of their right to make a choice about their kid? And so that was what I was talking about. I was sharing about the fact that, like, look, you cannot do this. Like, the party of stay out of my business is now trying to say that they're going to make it their business, but couch it behind this lie of we're protecting children. You aren't protecting anyone. And I will say that over and over and over again. Kiddos are not having surgeries. They're the only kiddos having surgeries are kiddos who are born intersex, because those doctors don't have the information that they need to do what's right by those kiddos. And they have suffered some of the like numerous horrific surgeries. Those are the kiddos being operated on. But guess what LB 574 doesn't do? It doesn't make those surgeries illegal. It doesn't. So who are they protecting? They're protecting their own interests. So that's my rant for the first part. I am going to circle back around towards the end of this conversation and talk a little bit more about what's happening with LB 574 and LB 575. So if you've tuned in, please stay here. Please know that you can actually ask questions on any one of the three platforms you might be on: Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. And I will see your questions. And, so you can ask questions of me. You can ask questions of our guests, who I'm going to bring on here in a moment. And I will be able to see them come through on my stream. So I'll be able to see your questions come through. And I know there's a little bit of a delay. So you may be asking a question about something that we might have already moved past, but don't think that I won't answer the question. Okay. So if you have questions and you do want to ask them, just know that you can ask them here. But I would really love to get to our guests who are so patiently waiting in the wings here, getting ready to come on and join me today. One of my most favorite organizations, probably because I myself am Two-Spirit. But it's the Winnebago Two-Spirit organization. They are hosting their first ever drag show to occur on Winnebago tribal lands. It gets me a little choked up because it's a beautiful thing. Like, I'm sad to hear that it's just now happening, but I'm happy to hear that it is happening. And this is happening on Friday, June 2nd, which is coming up just around the corner here in a few short weeks. Now, they also have their Pride, which we're going to talk to them a little bit about and what they're doing and what they got going on. And it's just an amazing, they're just an amazing organization. There is an opportunity for you to actually donate, and they're fundraising right now to make this Pride happen. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But I would like to bring on with me the wonderful Curtis Alexander, also known as Citrus.
Hello.
Hello. You are the current president of the organization. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
That is correct.
That is correct. And I also chair our public relations. So I do all of our press release, all the flyer information, and then I communicate with our other chair, who is our communications person, Melanie. And we work as a really, really solid team. So,
and y'all are just really, really solid people as well.
Thank you.
I had so much fun last year bringing the trailer up to your event and hanging out and meeting with the folks. And I am bringing the trailer back again this year. So I'm excited about that. But speaking of your communications person, we're going to go ahead and bring them on right now. This is Melanie Paul. Melanie, welcome to Speaking of Happy.
Thank you. You're also going to have Orca over here making her little buttons, because she has to be the belle of the ball.
The orca of the ball.
Hello, the orca of the ball.
She's a whale of a dog.
She's like, excuse me, mom, I don't care what you got going on. You're not paying attention to me.
Pretty
And
much.
that is clearly unacceptable. Well, welcome, Melanie, and welcome, Orca. And now we're going to bring up another one of my favorite people that I met from last year because she tells some really cool stories. So I'm hoping she's brought some fun stories with her this time. But say a big hello to Emmy Scott. And Emmy, are you the vice president of the organization or what's
I'm the treasurer.
Okay. You are the treasurer. So you're the money person.
Yes.
Show me the money. Speaking of showing the money, I'm actually going to paste in here. So I just shared on all of the platforms your GoFundMe. So anybody who's listening, if you haven't already donated to the organization so that they can put on their pride, they have a pretty large goal, but I think some of that money goes to other things as well. It's not just for pride. Am I correct about that or no?
Yes. Well, this year it's a little bit longer, which means we have more of a cost and we have multiple events happening. So it's the Berry Cute Pride and then the drag show. So the cost is kind of gone a little higher. We are very ambitious this year. Very ambitious. We really want to put on a show. That's the thing.
I love that. I love that. All right. So why don't you start with telling me a little bit about why you chose to call it. You said it's the Berry Cute Pride.
Yes. Go ahead, Emmy. I'll let you take it. Fill it.
Well, in the Ho-Chunk language, which I'm Ho-Chunk, and where Ho-Chunk is the home of on the Winnebago reservation as Ho-Chunk people. In the Ho-Chunk language, the word for strawberry is Haschek. And Haschek, if you translate it literally, because all our words are descriptive, it translates to first fruit. And it's because after a really long, hard winter, the first thing that blossoms and starts to fruit are strawberries. And because of that, a lot of tribes think that strawberries are a symbol of hope and rebirth. And we really wanted to have this message, especially for like the youth, especially with all the anti-trans and anti-drag legislation coming through Nebraska. We wanted to send a message that, like these strawberries, you are a symbol of hope, living your sacred identities as two-spirit people. And, you're a hope for our tribe, and to be very proud of, who you are and everything. And so that's where the idea of the berries came from. So our whole theme is all about berries, and even the drag show, if Curtis wants to put that, it's all centered on strawberries.
And I love your strawberry earrings. Are those?
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
They're beautiful. See, and that's one of the things that I always share with folks. Like, lots of native languages really are like, they mean something beyond what, like English says strawberry. Well, what does that mean to anybody? You hear strawberry, you think, oh yeah, it might be good in a smoothie. Hey, I like strawberries in my ice cream, right? But for our people, for indigenous folks, like, everything means something. And so I love what you just shared. See, you brought the story. You gave me what I love, the juicy part, right? Which is that hopeful feeling that we all really need right now. So that's just beautiful. Thank you so much for always bringing the beautiful stories and the content and the connection to your people. It means a lot. So Curtis, do you want to tell us a little bit about the drag show?
Yes. So I also like to remind people that drag has been, going on for ages, and that there's a history of drag in the United States. And we, as a group, we watched Tu Wong Fu. And on there, they have their their watermelon festival, which they call Red and Wild, right? Is it watermelon or is it, I can't remember the fruit, but they named it Red and Wild. And the movie was filmed here in Nebraska.
Mhm.
So with this legislature, we want to remind people that we do here in Nebraska have a history of drag that is bigger, more mainstream than what we think, what we know. So that's one of the things that we wanted to incorporate in the show, is reminding people that there was this film that came out, a long time ago, 25 years ago, I believe, and it was about drag queens in Nebraska. And they were passing through, but they had a heck of a time here, did their party and everything. And then our show is also going to be Native and people of color in the show. So we have our Winnebago drag queens and our Omaha drag queens, and we have a Hispanic MC, and I should say Hispanic MC. And I believe Tommy is African American, or and Yonka is African American. I'm still getting used to their name, yeah.
And
But yeah.
Yonka, yep, and Yonka. We have Samaj
We have Samaj, yes.
and Yonka.
Hmm.
And then you left your citrusly self out of that.
No, I was in there. I'm there.
I know, but you didn't say anything about you.
Yeah, I didn't say that. And then we have Persephone. She's pretty well known in the area. And we have a new performer. Her name's Isabella. She is from Tama. She's a Tama Indian Meskwaki. And then we have Toby, who is he is not a drag performer. He is a theater actor, singer, and he's pretty phenomenal.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He's one of the best.
That's amazing. Well, you at one point, so tell me a little bit about your drag career as Citrus.
As Citrus.
When did you start performing drag?
I believe I started in 2009. So it's been a long time. I started back in the day when there were no people of color performing in Sioux City.
Mm.
It was very much one race on the cast, and they would not let anybody in. And then it changed a couple of years ago. The tides changed. I actually competed for Miss Sioux City Supreme back in 2018. And when I competed for that and won that title, I was put on as a show cast director in Sioux City of a cast that was predominantly people of color. And we had one, that was not, let's say. And I was like, wow, where did all these, performers come from? Because I remember when there was nobody that looked like me on stage. And now we have all kinds of Latinx performers, male, female, non-binary performers, Native American. That's one thing that I'm very proud of, is that we have, in this very small reservation, we have a lot of Native performers who are very good and very well known. Yeah. And we're all friends. I have to throw that in there. We're all friends behind the curtain. That we're not mean to each other. We don't have any of that shady BS that goes on with other queens. We're very
you will rib each other. You'll rib each other and play with each other. But I do appreciate the fact that you're not over there being backstabby.
No.
Curtis, you were a part of I did a show here in Omaha called Existence.
Yes.
And that was in 2019. And we were going to do it again the very next year, but then COVID hit. And honestly, with all the stuff that I've got going on, it was the last thing that I wanted to try to do was do another one. And to be honest, I mean, I was more than just a little disappointed at the turnout.
Yeah.
It was like, we brought some serious talent, Smaj. We brought Shug De La Cruz in from New Mexico. We had Avalisa, Ellicott. I mean, we just had all of these really talented, Mr. Little Cat was there and performed, and and it was more native focused. There were more indigenous people in the show, but it was one of the first POC shows, people of color shows, predominantly, like only. That was it. But it was just like, and we also did it earlier in the day so that kiddos could come and be in a safe environment, because it was totally alcohol free from the start to the end. And we even did free tacos. Like we had.
I was just gonna say that there was free Indian tacos for everybody.
Everybody was always like, I want Indian tacos. I want Indian tacos. And then I'm like, I do a whole freaking show with Indian tacos and nobody showed up. So anyway, all right. So here's the GoFundMe. I did put that link in the chat. So anybody who has any comments or who wants to go, and this is probably, I don't know, somebody y'all know. Do you know Sheila Starr?
Yes, she's on our page. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we saw a huge uptick in people joining the live stream here, and I love that. So you've got a bit of a draw. Thank you. So again, for those of you who joined a little late, we are talking to the folks who are part of the Winnebago Two-Spirit organization, and they're sharing about their Pride, which is Friday, June 2nd. What time does it start?
We're going to start at 12 p.m. That's when we're going to have our opening prayer and then our speaker. And a couple of other things about the start of it is that we are going to have like our color run, who is hosted by our partner, the YCIC. And that is like, they'll supply everything. It's like throwing dye at you, squirting you with water, and you can run through the colors. And then we have our volleyball tournament and kickball tournament, which are going to be hosted by HCI, or Ho Chunk Inc. And those are going to be starting at around 1 in the afternoon and go until whenever the tournaments are done.
Is this all happening in that same area where it was last year?
Yes.
I mean, it's perfect for that, because you've got those arenas or the, places where the fields and whatnot, where those things can happen. So that's super cool. And so if somebody wanted to come from out of town, they're welcome, correct?
They are, yes. We welcome everybody. We want this to be where people do travel from out of town. Nebraskans come to see this show, participate with us, be involved, because we welcome everybody. But also, this is, the big, FU to all those legislatures. Let's come out, enjoy yourself in the daytime and then see the show, or come out for the show, or just come out for the daytime, whichever one you want. But we want people to attend as much as possible.
Awesome.
And the daytime, the Berry Cute Pride is for families. So there's a lot of family activity, like, doing teams on volleyball, doing kickball, participating in our project launch activities, which are, those activities are for 0 to 8th grade. Is it 8th grade or 8?
8 years old.
8 years old. Yeah. 0 to 8. So those are, our younger children activities that we have planned.
Yeah, I think they're having a smoothie bar for kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Smoothie bowls. They're gonna have
Smoothie bowls.
Smoothie bowls.
Yeah.
Oh,
It all sounds good. It all sounds good.
Now you're speaking my language. Well, like I said, I am going to bring the trailer, so we hopefully will be able to do some interviews with some folks and do some live streaming while I'm there. Michelle, you didn't miss anything. You didn't miss the show. We didn't start until 7 o'clock. So I don't know what time you popped in here, but looks like it says 7:28 you popped in, but you're a little late. That's it. It's It's all good. I promoted it kind of last minute. Once I confirmed with Curtis that they were going to be able to join me, and so I'm just really excited. Again, I like that big FU to not all the senators in Nebraska,
Right.
but for sure the senators. Oh, hey, well, the event hasn't happened yet. That's what, Michelle, I meant the drag show. We love all ages events. Okay, so it's at the Winnebago. So here's the thing. What is it? Like an hour and a half outside of Omaha?
Yes, north.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So Michelle, and for anyone else who's watching, it's easy. If you put the Winnebago reservation in your Google Maps, it'll take you right to the reservation. Is there a direct address for the area where you're having the event, or?
Yeah, it's 341 Frenchman Street.
Okay. I'm going to put that. All right. So I just posted that for anybody who is curious. 341 Frenchman Street, Winnebago, Nebraska. That is where you can go and find the event. It's kind of like one of those big outdoor ball field kind of looking areas, but I will be there. So just look for the big, huge Progress Pride flag, the Two-Spirit Progress Pride flag. Well, it's the intersex inclusive Two-Spirit Progress Pride flag, the only one of its kind, and there isn't anyone else who has that flag with the two feathers for Two-Spirit on it. So at least I haven't seen it yet. Nobody stole my idea and started making flags. Maybe I should, but but it is what it is. So what else do people need to know? So Michelle, since you were thinking you missed the drag show, you didn't, because it's actually happening on Friday, June 2nd. So it's in just a few weeks from now. Gosh, what is it? We are like, what is it? Are we 3 weeks out? 2 weeks?
It's 3 Fridays away.
Yeah, 3 Fridays.
Yeah, 3 Fridays.
Yeah, woof, boy.
That's no
I'll tell
time.
you, as soon as winter ends,
Yes.
like everything goes on like fast.
Yes.
And
No
all of a
kidding.
sudden, we're in the sweltering heat of the end of July.
Mhm. Very true.
So, Melanie, what had you get involved with the Two-Spirit organization, and why did you choose to be the communications person?
So I'm originally from Boston. I'm Mi'kmaq from Nova Scotia. So I'm really far away from everything that I'm used to, like what we do out there. I actually came out here through AmeriCorps during COVID, and Curtis was my supervisor at the time for my AmeriCorps position. And he was like, hey, this fits right into your responsibilities and what you should be doing. Let's plan Pride this year. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So then we just started making all kinds of arrangements for Pride, and then I've just been involved with it ever since. And when we had our like formal forming of the board, it's like, you know what, you can be communications and secretary. And I was like, sure, I love taking notes.
I love it when that happens. It's very,
2.5 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
You
make all over beautiful flyers.
I know she does. But Melanie very glosses it all over.
I'm strictly behind the scenes like this. No, I'm supposed to be in the chat, like typing in, like, oh yeah, don't forget this, don't forget that.
But
see, we all want to stretch you out of your comfort zone.
Exactly, we do. We want you here. This is a new role. We want you to be a part of us and in this conversation. But when Melanie came on, we would have these like long conversations with each other, like, sitting there doing work, and then we, chit chat about stuff. And she's from Boston. Massachusetts is a pretty liberal place compared to here. So she would tell me some stuff, and I'd be like, maybe we could do that. I don't know. But her ideas, I want to say this, she literally pushed me. She's one of the people who pushed me to start this, to do this. So her role in this, being the communications person and doing that, I want you to know that like you pushing me and having those conversations really got us here. Like really, that AmeriCorps step is a huge one in our organization's history. So like having volunteers here to help out, not only just, physical or, like how you say organizational, but she helped me as a person bring this about for other people. Like that is beautiful. And that is, I appreciate so much because literally, I think if I didn't have Melanie and I didn't work in AmeriCorps, none of this would have happened. It would have just been, an idea in Citrus's mind to do, and it would have never occurred. Or it might have occurred with somebody else. But Melanie was that catapult that pushed me out and really brought those ideas that she had, that she knew from back east, that we could do here. And don't minimize your role with us at all. Like
because look at this beautiful flyer.
Oh, that was all Citrus right there.
I mean, I see that strawberry in there. It looks good. If you're not already following the Winnebago Two-Spirit organization on Facebook, go follow them now. You can also find them on their website at winnebagotwospirit.com. And again, if you want to help support their pride actually happening, you can go to the GoFundMe page, GoFundMe or GoFund.me/42FE9BA4. Love that, right? So I will put that in the chat again so that y'all can go and donate. They do need to raise, they're wanting to raise 10 at about 1,700. It'd be really awesome if we could get them at least over that $2,000, $2,500 mark. Would love to get them some more money so that they can really make this Pride a huge success this year. So I just went ahead and posted that back out to all 3 of the platforms where we're streaming to, because we are streaming to YouTube and Facebook. Speaking of happening on Facebook and also on Twitch, which, I mean, I don't get a whole lot of traction on Twitch because I don't really Twitch much. I mean, I do Twitch, but not the way that they want me to Twitch, if that makes any sense. Oh, so I love this. So Pride Month. Can't wait to do some Pride manicures, etc. on clients. Hey, that's my friend Robin. She is here in Omaha, Nebraska. Totally LGBTQ plus friendly nail technician, owns her own place. Robin, if you want to go ahead and post about your place where we can find you, I will share that with folks. And Robin also agrees with me that I should market my flag. Oops. Okay. Wait a minute. Which one of those is that? I'm trying to find the one that I actually posted. What did I do? Okay. I don't know what I did. Oh, I know what I did. Gosh, it's been so long that I've totally forgotten how my tools work. That's how long it's been. I do need to get back on it though. Like I really honestly, but again, with everything that's been going on with the legislature, I mean, I'll tell you what the tribal council did, was it a year ago?
Yes, that was just a year ago.
What they did a year ago was like a tiny pebble compared to what is happening now. And they beautifully and quickly course corrected it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just, I'm really just so disgusted by what it is that we have to face today, what we're facing today, and who it hurts. I mean, it hurts, Two-Spirit youth, which you're already seeing such high rates of death by suicide and all of that alienation. I mean, it just doesn't, none of it tracks for me, other than the fact that this has all just been a lie, that they don't want us to have bodily autonomy, that they don't want women to have the right to their own bodily autonomy, or people who can get pregnant to have the right to make a choice that's for their, in their best interest, for their health. Let's see here. Oh, awesome. I'm going to put this up. Robin says, going to ask my friends in the Panhandle how to help get corporate sponsors for Winnebago Pride. Woo!
Awesome.
Like, yeah, let's do it, Robin. Do it.
Very
We
nice.
appreciate that. And Robin says that you should totally could donate like 10% to the GLBTQIA org of your choice, and the rest is profit for you. Hey. All right. Well, come on then. Bring it, Robin. Do you have a Facebook page that we can share, Robin? We would love to. I would love to be able to share that. Michelle says small donations sent. Wish it was more. But you know what? It's those small donations that make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, most of our donations that we get to these events are small, like $5-10, but together it adds up to a lot. So I mean, if you only have $5, like anything helps, literally. Like, so being such a small organization, like
we just went, let's see, I was at your page, I think it said 1770, and now it's at 1830.
Nice.
Awesome.
So we just got you over the $1,800 mark. I'm actually waiting for a check to come in from an organization that I did a talk for a couple of weeks ago. And once that check comes in, I am going to be making a donation as well. Are you folks now, are you a 501c3?
We have our paperwork in. Let's say that we are in transit or waiting for that approval.
Okay.
So yes, I would hope so in a couple of weeks that we get approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so too, because I think that'll also make a huge difference, especially when you can go out and look for corporate sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
That makes like all the difference in the world. And I know that because I helped to found Heartland Pride here in Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually took it over from the organization that had it prior to us, and they were not a 501c3. And they actually were, and then they lost it, but that's a long story I won't get into the weeds on. But it just makes all the difference in the world. And Heartland Pride has seen a steady increase in support, in sponsorships, and funding. Like, we outgrew the space that we were at, which was, Stinson Park here in Omaha. And now, then they moved across the street to the Baxter Arena. And now they're at the CHI Center, which is downtown, and it's huge, massive. I do believe actually, so I did have somebody share with me the folks from Star City Pride, Baby Girl. I don't know if Baby Girl's watching, but Baby Girl, who is a drag performer out of Lincoln, Nebraska, is going to, and who also I believe is one of the royalty for Star City Pride this year. But they're planning to come to your Pride.
Nice.
Because because they want to, number one, she wants to support you, and that's amazing. Number two, she is a Black person, so it's like she understands the importance, and I see her and a lot of other Black performers talking about the lack of inclusion of people of color and the centering of people of color who are performers. It's like our own community doesn't understand the nuances of, look, when it's Black History Month, maybe you should step aside and like hire and pay Black performers during that month to perform. Like, it's not that much to ask. There's 11 other months. right?
Yeah. Not
So,
that hard to do.
yes. So let's see, Robin, let's focus on Pride for Winnebago tonight. I was just mentioning that I love Pride Month because the nails are fun. I am the mom of a bi child, so this is important to me.
Aw.
Awesome. You know what, though, Robin, I appreciate that you want to focus on Pride for Winnebago, but I also would love to, again, promote your work. If people want to come and get their nails done and support you and your business, we're all for that here. This isn't a who should get more time than anyone else. My show is all about making sure that those of us who are on the margins or even multi-marginalized, and Robin is a Black woman. We all know how Black women are treated in America today. So Robin, please give me your info so I can share it here with folks. While we've got the audience, we're going to go ahead and share that, because who knows, maybe the folks from Winnebago will come and get their nails done by you for their Pride, which is coming up the first Friday in June. So June 2nd. What else should we be telling folks to get them to make the trip? I mean, it really is a quick trip. It's, an hour and a half. If you're like me and might have a little bit of a lead foot, you can get there a little quicker. But since I'm towing the trailer, I'm not going to be getting there that fast. Hey, you know what? I am going to be at Sioux City's parade. Are you going to be there?
Yes.
We will, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to pull the trailer this time. As a matter of fact, if I can bring the trailer to Winnebago and park it in that lot,
Yeah.
and leave it there, and it'll just be locked up and secured and everything. And then I would drive to Sioux City. So if anybody wanted to ride with me, I have enough room for 3 other people besides myself, maybe 4 if people want to squeeze in the back seat. But y'all can ride along. I'll have my flags and all of that. But if you wanted to ride along with me in the truck, that would be totally fine. So
Okay. We'll
And then
find somebody to.
hey, let's do it. Let's make sure that we have that two-spirit presence in the parade in Sioux
Yeah.
City, because that's the night before. So that is Thursday, June 1st. That's right. And then we have Winnebago Pride on June 2nd. And then the day after is Sioux City Pride on June 3rd. So
Long
lots going on.
weekend. We're
That's
crazy.
right. All right. So there is the information for the nails. I'm going to have to go and see if I can pull that off of Facebook so that I can copy and paste that a little bit easier into the chat for folks. But that is awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, Robin. Appreciate it greatly. And also just appreciate your support. I mean, you've always been super supportive of me as a trans person for as long as I've known you. And I just really appreciate that. It's not easy. Like when I came out as trans in 2015, the kinds of conversations that I was having in the community were hard enough, let alone what was happening outside of the community and what was happening in my workplace. And, this is why Pride is so important, right? It's so important for us to be able to come together and create these spaces where we can show up as our full authentic selves, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask each of you to answer this question for me. Okay. And I'm going to just let whoever wants to go first can go first. And then you can pick the next person after that to answer this question. But I want you to answer the question, what does pride mean to you? So who wants to go first? Curtis? Curtis?
You mean Emmy?
What does that mean? I would raise this hand,
Not me.
but I did something to my arm and it's so sore. What does that mean? Not me?
Yeah, not it.
Yeah, not me, not it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean,
But since I didn't know that, Curtis, you're going first.
What pride means to you? Well, to me, I've been around for a lot of prides. That sounds. And
Well, you look great for your age.
I've been around since Pride started. No,
Careful, because I literally have.
tread lightly, treading lightly.
Yeah. Just kidding.
For me, Pride is the time to celebrate, that part of me, and enjoy myself. Basically, that's what it means to me. But self as a drag entertainer, it's the time to, have a show, bring people out so that they can see like see a good show, I guess. And that sounds so conceited, but see a show where they are reflected back of themselves. This is not, the pride for, the outside world. This is pride for our people, the Two Spirit people, the LGBTQ people. So, like, having a June Pride is like a huge thing for me, like to enjoy take the time to go and be a part of the community and just be around people who understand and get that the rest of the 365 days a year or 364 days a year are, a struggle because of all of the, not understanding, not giving sympathy or empathy towards other people. But this, one day when we can do Pride, or 1 month that we can do Pride, we can take that time where we don't have to, question anything, where we don't have to combat anything. This is just a celebration of who we are. So that's what it means to me. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Who are you going to pick?
I'll go with Emmy.
Okay. Well, for this year, I'd say Pride means tribal sovereignty. It means gender sovereignty, because this being our first drag show on tribal land, we last year it was declared that June is Pride Month on the reservation, and we are under the state of Nebraska. I mean, technically, we are sovereign nations. So, as sovereign nations, June is Pride Month, and we're allowed to keep our sacred identities and celebrate that without the interference of the colonial gender binary, which was basically forced upon Native people. And it's about uplifting Two-Spirit youth and just having fun, I guess.
Very true.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Love that. I love that. Melanie, what do you say? What does pride mean to you, Melanie?
So pride means to me, it kind of goes along with what Emmy and Curtis were saying. I do believe personally myself, it's more of a time to show like our youth that, hey, it's okay to be who you are. And guess what? There's a whole group of people out here that you don't normally see that know what you're going through and accept you and are here for you. Because like I have family that are Two-Spirit, but they don't want anybody to know yet because they're not comfortable with where they live and with all this stuff. So it's like you have this month where you have all these people who are like, oh my God, I had no idea. And you get that sense of community and that sense of like finding your family, because that's what it is. You find a family. You don't have to be blood related. Like we all know that. And Orca apparently thinks it's time to have fun with her toys and be outside. Like
she's telling what pride means to her.
Yeah, she's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What pride means to
Guys.
me is a sweet squeaky toy, although I prefer the squeaky toy where the squeak is still happening. But I realized that I killed it, and so therefore it only makes this weird noise. But she only reacts when you're talking. So she's like, oh, you're talking. That must mean I need to be on too. I gotta be on
Those times.
That's right. Orca, you're a beautiful, beautiful girl, and we love you just as you are. Well, I love that. I think that y'all are really honestly, without getting too much into it, because I'll make myself cry. I just really appreciate y'all so much. And I love what you all said. And I really especially love, Emmy, what you said about just recognizing that we do deserve to be who we are and be honored and affirmed and respected as two-spirit people.
Yes.
And that we have always been here.
We've always been here before Nebraska was a state.
Mm-hmm.
We're here.
Yeah.
So everybody.
And I love especially on your fundraiser when you say the colonial forces once again seek to discriminate against indigenous gender identities. I'm like, yes, 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 that part. So I mean, thank you so much. I know this was a last minute thrown together, but y'all came and you gave it your best and your all, and I appreciate it. Curtis, I think maybe we need to have a conversation about possibly next Tuesday. Well, actually, no, not Tuesday, because LB 574 is supposed to go up for final round of debate next Tuesday. But maybe next Wednesday evening, I should check my calendar real quick, we could have some of the performers on.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then
Yep,
they can talk about why this is important for them right now.
Yes.
Next Wednesday evening, the 17th, actually works for me.
Okay.
So I would love to have y'all back, you and some of the other performers, to share, why they are so excited about this and about what they, a little bit about their themselves. If they want to come dressed in what they normally look like, hair and makeup and all, that would be super cool to have them join us and just share not only what Pride means to them, but what drag has done for them.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yes, we can do that. That would be
Awesome. I love that. All right. Well, folks, thank you so much to those of you who tuned in. And remember, you can actually go to the GoFundMe. If you haven't done so already, you can go to the GoFundMe and send a donation into the Winnebago Pride group and help them bring their pride. And here's what I'm going to say to you. If you folks get to the halfway mark, the $5,000 mark, I will do a drawing of everyone who donated to your GoFundMe for one of these. Okay.
Awesome.
So you just need to let me know when you hit that $5,000 mark. And I don't care if there's an organization out there, a company or another organization that wants to give a big chunk of money so that y'all can have your pride. I don't care how it happens. Right. When you get to 5,000, we will do a drawing for, actually, let's do this. We'll do a drawing for 2 of those. So 2 separate drawings, one, for this, so that you show that you are out to protect trans kids in Nebraska and that you support their right to have bodily autonomy and also their parents' right to access gender affirming care for them and with them. So again, be sure to check out the Winnebago Pride on Facebook. So it's the Winnebago Two-Spirit Organization. You can also go to their Facebook page directly and what am I trying to say? And find their website, which is the Winnebago2spirit.com site there. And again, just know that they've submitted for 501c3. We're hoping that'll go through soon, which then means that those donations will be tax deductible. So, all right, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Robin, again, I'll connect with you and we'll have another conversation. Maybe I can bring you on the show at some point as well. Maybe we can hook you up with some performers who need their nails done. right? All
Yeah.
right, y'all. Have a great evening. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. This is Eli Rigatuso. Speaking of happy, I promise I will not be a stranger much longer. We are already planning for a show next week, and and we will. It's all love. That's right, Robin. It is all love, and that's what we would hope that our world would share more of. All love, less hate. Take it easy. See you next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank